Adam Cole gets up to talk. Jay White interrupts, and he explains that he's responsible for making Forbidden Door as big as it can be, and that his opponent still cannot be Adam Cole because you lost to Paige twice. White then enters the ring and says, my opponent on Sunday will not be you either, to Paige. So they fight. Cole gets knocked off the apron. The buckshot gets stopped when Adam Cole low blows Paige, and then Cole picks up the IWGP title, and he's behind White, who turns around and catches Cole, who's about to use the belt. White then lifts Paige when all of a sudden you hear the entrance of the Rainmaker himself. Kazuchika Okada comes out, and dude, this place lost their mind as Okada came out huge in Milwaukee. And he runs down. Okada and Paige fight White and Cole, and then Okada and Paige have a face-off with one another. White ducks a Rainmaker before he exits, and this to me is the kind of moment you wanted to have many times with some of these New Japan performers coming over. Like Okada just felt like your top level star, and at the end of this all, it will in fact be a 4-way match for the IWGP title on Sunday.
Did they announce that at the end of the segment?
Not at the end of the segment, during the rundown of the pay-per-view later that night.
Yeah. It was cool. It was, I mean, a huge reaction to Kazuchika Okada, as I think many of us would expect, honestly. Like if Will Ospreay gets that sort of reaction, if Minoru Suzuki gets that sort of reaction, I mean, how could Kazuchika Okada not? Do these New Japan guys not have anything but like white t-shirts though, packed in their suitcases? Come on. What are we doing here? This is like, a big debut. Like what we don't have something better for the Rainmaker to wear?
What did you want him to come out with?
Well, if not a robe, at least come on, some sort of collar
turtleneck.
Yeah, this guy is supposed to be the guy with the dollars flowing through the air. This to me felt like I'm just imagining this to be a lot of people's first glimpse of Kazuchika Okada. As much as as big of a deal he might seem to our audience, a lot of people watching on TBS may have never seen this guy before. And it's just, I don't know, white t-shirt doesn't really do a whole lot for me, especially when you have Jay White wearing a white t-shirt as well. But I also felt like they should have hammered things a little bit harder after the segment. They should have told you exactly what the match was. And why, after all of this, Jay White saying that it's not going to be Cole and it's not going to be Paige, how did those two suddenly get into the match?
That was a big gap for me, in particular the Cole one, who it was explained kind of logically, like you've lost twice to Paige. What gets you into, like, they didn't even use the Owen tournament win to kind of justify him being there. And it missed that explanation that you're bringing up because, yeah, it's like, why all of a sudden
you spend all this time discrediting these two for why they don't deserve a championship match. And all of a sudden we end the segment really thinking that it's going to be Jay White versus Kazuchika Okada. And then it, of course, requires Excalibur, in his monumental rundown later on in the show to
the all-timer
official match. But no, absolutely. I think this build really could have been and should have been better with their clear explanations.
Yeah, I don't know what all went behind this match, but number one, I think you would have wanted to get this one out a little earlier, and maybe there were forces that prevented that. But at the end of it, I do think it needed that explanation for it of, after going through all this, even the part about Hangman explaining why he wasn't in the Battle Royal, that I'm not going to be getting a title match anytime soon, so I'm going to go for the IWGP title. So I do think you have to follow up a little on that. You're in theory shut out of the AEW title for an unknown reason, and then who's making this match for you to get you into this match?
Yeah. So, we do have the 4-way, and, like it was maybe suggested at the beginning of all this, it's not as attractive a match as Hangman Page versus Kazuchika Okada. I think anytime you have, a singles bout, it feels just that much more conclusive.
Okada's not the champion anymore, so that wouldn't have been the singles match.
I would have still rather have done it. To me, it felt bigger, but does
that tell you neither are taking a pinfall in this 4-way?
So, I mean, that is the reason why we're getting these multi-man matches. Is it not?
I think that's Adam Cole's role in this match. That's what you have to naturally expect.
And that's unfortunate because I think at the start of this, we were looking for, and granted, there were curveballs thrown in. We were supposed to get Punk versus Tanahashi. We don't. But at the start of this whole Forbidden Door concept, I think there are a lot of eyeballs looking at Tony Khan and Gedo to have this feel different than your typical cross-promotional tour where you don't get by with these sort of shortcuts of having multi-man matches just so somebody can get a pinfall or take a pinfall. And in this case, it feels like a bit of a cop-out. And it feels like it's, a bit less than what they were promising ahead of time. And that was a title match between Page and Okada. Nonetheless, I'm sure the match will be great.
I think so. But I think going in, I think this is one where I think overall, like this pay-per-view, I think that there's going to be a lot of criticism of the build-up for it. But I also look at this card and I wonder if it's just going to be a card that delivers in such a way that it somewhat negates that. But you're selling people on the hype and the buildup.
The buy rate is what's most important. We know the quality of the show will be good. Dude, WWE shows leave us feeling good because the quality of those shows are good as well. Wrestling is just that good these days. But how much interest do you have going into it? And how many buys does this show garner?